I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, but my phone is charging, and I figured that at least for a few minutes I would go live until midnight because it is New Year's Eve, so why not? Why not give people a chance to talk? So if anybody wants to come hang out, I am live. I don't know if any of the 600 subs I got actually pay that enough attention to me, but you know what? Even if you don't, that's okay. I guess what I can do is start with plans for the future, because I know some of you, at least, hopefully, are all thinking, about the upcoming plans and what she's gonna do for the year ahead. I was originally gonna take most of the time off, a lot of time off. I was originally gonna take the entire month off, but I decided, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to take that long off. I don't want to leave y'all without any videos for an entire month. So I am not doing that, but I am going to cut back on how many shorts I do for the foreseeable future, because this previous month that I finished, I did, let's see, I did Back Arrow, Strike the Blood, Slayers, God, what else was it, Back Arrow, Strike the Blood, Slayers, and I think I did, what was the other one? Why do I not remember this now? Why the fuck don't I remember the other one? I know it was at least 4. Because I remember having to fit them all. So, Back Arrow, Strike the Blood. Oh, and Star Driver, which I will finish tomorrow. Back Arrow, Strike the Blood, Star Driver, and Slayers. None of which were that good. Well, that's not true. Slayers was decent. But, I did 4 anime stuffed into this month. And the previous month, I did more than that, because I did, and at the beginning of the month I did even more than that, because I finished Asura Cryan and Dentalia no Shoka. And before that I started, Dressrosa, One Piece Dressrosa. I did both Tora Mitsutsu no Index and, Tora Kagaku no Railgun. I did Code Geass because he is my absolute favorite anime character of all time, and probably always will be. And I also did Rose and Maiden. Originally speaking, oh, and I did Full Dive, which is like 6 shows in one sitting. I can't do that many shows at one time. That is, first of all, that's way too many shorts. That's 6 shorts per day, which I have to pump out, and which you guys have to watch. That's 6 shorts in one day, which I honestly think is way too damn many. I think 4 is way too many, but 6? Oh my god, 6? I can tell you, I realized that if I got 6 shorts in one day, every day, I couldn't do that. I couldn't, that's a lot of damn shorts in one day. So, I apologize for stuffing y'all with that many shorts. I apologize for doing that. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna limit it to 2. Besides the, well, actually, no, it's gonna be 3, because it's gonna be 1 long and 1 short show. So, as far as I know, this, for January, it's going to be, what's it called, Inukami, and Rental Magica, and then Amatsuki. That's the short form for this coming month. Hi person, how you doing? Even if you don't stop for very long, I appreciate you at least coming to look even once. Hello. So January is going to be Jun Fukuyama. As far as I'm settled, it's going, like I said, it's going to be Inukami and Rental Magica, then Amatsuki. As far as I know. I don't think I'm going to fit any other shorts because, like I said, I'm trying to lessen the load of how many I do per season. And I decided that I am not pushing myself through AkiCon. I may have a garbage month at some point where it's just every single, I watch a bunch of crap shows just to get them out of the way. Like, I'm going to watch, like, maybe to watch Deers at some point, and AkiCon and just something else, but as far as I know, right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put myself through that. I also really don't want to watch Happy 7. And I'm limiting myself because my rule of thumb is that for the show, the person has to be a lead. It does not count if the person is secondary. It does not count if the person is a side character. No, the person has to be a lead. And weirdly, that is very limiting for some of these months, and I'll get to that in a minute. So, that is January. February is going to be Kohei Masaki. He's newer. So, luckily for me, he's new. Which means the only shows I know he's been leads in are, I'm sorry, my iPads are going crazy today, I'm sorry about that, God, what was it, Isekai Cheat Magician, which I'm not looking forward to putting myself through Isekai Cheat Magician, although I do really like the art. I will admit the art is very pretty, and High School Girl, which I don't like the art, but there's that. And I'm probably going to watch both seasons of that at the same time. So that's going to be February. Ayuma is going to be January, February, March. Ayuma is going to be March. He, for some reason, the only show I can think of that he's been a lead in is Haikyuu. I think he might have been a lead in Listeners, but other than that, the only show I can think of that he's been a lead in is Haikyuu. So there probably is another one, which I will think of, and I will get to it at some point. I know I keep changing these things around, and I know I made this whole extensive list last month about all these shows I'm going to watch, but I have to reconsider and push things around for time constraints and for the toll of not getting burnout, and also for the toll of being able to fit the monthly streams, because one of the reasons I did not get to them this previous season is because of the fact that I had to take up so much time doing these shorts, and that means I had to watch at least 6 shows a day, like 6 episodes a day, and that's a lot of episodes of anime, because anime is a half an hour, so that means I had to watch more than 3 hours, and I love anime, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't like it, I would love nothing more to watch a shit ton of anime every day, but to watch a show and to remember to put out a short, even though they're short form, I have to think of what to say, I have to remember what to say, and I don't script these, so usually it takes me a couple tries to get what I want to say right, so it takes a few minutes, and my goal is to try and get these out during the day, so before midnight. So in enough time that I can get them all before midnight. Um, so it is time constraining. Uh, so January, February, March, April is going to be Shotaro Morikubo, and weirdly enough, despite the fact that he's been in the industry since the 90s, he's only had like 2 lead roles. Like, despite of how big Iseo and how big his registry is, he's had 2 lead roles. And I don't count Code Realize as a lead, by the way, because like I said, he has to be the first focal point you see in the title. When you get the list of characters, he has to be the first name, and it has to say so-and-so is the main protagonist. He has to be the main protagonist in the show. Not one of many, the main protagonist. So that makes it a little bit trickier for me to find these things, which is, you'd think he would have had more, but no. He's only had 2. At least I think it was 2. It was Sorcerer, Stabber, Orphan, which I've never seen, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to, because he was so young in that role. I think it'll be interesting to see him as a younger actor. And Shosoku Spinner, which I've never heard of in my entire life. Like, literally, I've never heard of this show. So it's going to be weird for me to see this show. I was originally going to devote May to Mika Kanai, but I have decided that May, July, August, September, November. I have decided that we are going to start, that I am going to, well, first of all, I'm going to start Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 in May. Because that way, if I skip Pride Month, that way, actually no, May, June, July. No, I don't think I'm gonna, I don't know. I don't know what, I'm trying to figure out the timing Arc 5 is gonna be tricky, because I gotta get it to the end. Here's the thing about November, and I want to end it in November. That I know for sure, is that I want to end it in November, because November is going to be my favorite villains month. Which means Dressrosa, which means it's going to be another Clogs month. But, you know what? That's okay. Dressrosa, welcome to Demon School. Dressrosa, welcome to Demon School. What's it called? God, Sosei Yuji, Twin Star Exorcists, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. I don't know how I'm going to handle Code Realize, because as most of you know, the whole reason I watched that show was because of Yuki Kaji, who is absolutely magnificent in that show. I'm probably just going to play the game, because I want to fit him in, but I've already seen the show, because I didn't think of this idea until after I was already done with the show in November. So I watched it, because under best vocal performance, oh my god, he was so amazing in the show. He's so ham that it's awesome. But, so best vocal performance for me went to him. But I realized afterwards, oh crap, I needed to fit him in next month. But you know what? I could do. Actually, I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to fit any more shows that month. Because that's already enough as it is. So, as I said, we're going to pick up on Dressrosa in November. We're going to watch the first season of Welcome to Demon School because I don't really give a damn about watching the shows after that. Truth be told, Amy's the only reason I give two flying fucks about that show, and he barely shows up. Like, after season 1, he's like barely there until the end of season 3. So I don't really care about that show. I like Hagem, don't get me wrong. I debated including that for his month in January, February, March, but no, I'm not. It's not worth it. And I've debated doing it for Halloween, but like, no, I'm gonna do it for. I'm gonna do it for November. For, so there's that. Other than that, and I can tell you that at some point next year I'll probably do a Mika Kanai month. But I'm not sure it's going to be January because I want to get, because when people hopefully start coming to Patreon, I want to start showing people, okay, so no, still nothing. I want to devote a couple months to potential Patreon entries. I also do want to do a month for Chihiro Suzuki, who's the writer of Trika. Trika is amazing. I absolutely love Toru as a protagonist. I love that kind of give no shits and just he's so fun as a main character. I did not know that person also wrote Scrapped Princess, so that should be interesting to watch that show. I've never seen that show before, so a month devoted to that show, Scrapped Princess, and Outbreak Company. A show I'm not looking forward to. I also, at some point, actually, I might, for Halloween, I might do, See, I have to think about these things because I have to make sure I'm organized enough to know what I'm doing. Also, y'all will be definitely getting more daily nerd out videos because I have a couple I want to do, and I don't necessarily think that I've been dedicating myself enough to figuring it out. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed on the other channel, but the shorts page, the podcast, the TV podcast is now one big podcast. So instead of being a bunch of little podcasts, all the TV stuff is going to go into one cast, and Tokusatsu nights are still going to happen, but it'll be a once a week thing. It's not going to be a whole separate podcast. It's going to be one thing that I'm going to do every week. And then and during the week I'm going to do a bunch of different stuff. I also have a couple shows I'm going to be talking about. Actually, I have one show. I never talked about the Wing Feather Saga. I realized that now. I never talked about the Wing Feather Saga. And I've been like stalling because I watched one episode of it and it is really good. But I never, oh my god, I never got to talking about that show. So yeah, I have a show that I never got around to talking about. So I look forward to that. Look forward to hearing about that show. And by the way, the TV for You podcast is going to be both animation and live action, so it's not just going to be a cartoon podcast, it's going to be both. The only thing it's not going to be is anime, like specifically anime. And originally I was going to bring the Tokusatsu Net podcast over here, but I decided that we're just going to put it all into one podcast because I want to lighten my load and I want to keep this channel mostly anime centric. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do about the DC movies. Because on one hand, I want to keep watching them, and I will. But, on the other hand, I don't have a place to fit them. Because I want, like I said, I want this channel to be strictly anime, manga, and video games. Because I want this channel to have a role, and I want this channel to have, well, not even a role. Role is the wrong word. I want this channel to have an identity. So, yeah, I'm not fitting it on this channel, but I don't know if I'm going to. And I know I keep saying, oh, I don't know. But that's because I have, and I'm not saying this to be excusatory, by the way. I want y'all to know I have ADHD, so my brain is constantly scattered to shit, and like, it's going off in a million different directions. And I'll think of something, and then I'll just completely forget about it, and I'll think of something, and I'll just completely forget about it. And I think I get that from my dad, which is not a good thing, because it's not a good trait that he has. And I promise you, I hope that I'm going to try and work on it to actually keep up with what I'm saying. But as of right now, I'm just not sure where the DC movies fit. I might just put them into the podcast and say, okay, this is just a monthly thing I'm going to do. Because I just ended the year for the Cinema Pit podcast, and I hope you'll enjoy that. So, that ended this year. Well, not ended permanently, but like, I did my end of year burst movies. And I also, normally I do my best movies, but I don't have a best movies list because I didn't watch that many of the movies this year. I watched Scream 6, which was amazing. But, other than that, I can't think of what other movies I watched this year. Because that podcast is supposed to be strictly for not even for cinema, but for bad movies, like for really, really, really bad movies, because I got some stinkers I want to talk about. Starting with one, oh my god, that my dad, I'm going to tell you right now, my dad is one of those people who, like, every time a movie is bad, I will tell him it's going to be bad, and he will not believe me. And he will argue with me. So, I made it into a game. I'll bet him. And I bet him Actually, I haven't yet. But I'm going to bet him that if he can sit through more than half of Jack and Jill without giving up, he won't do it. He's not going to do it. But if he can do it, I will buy him dinner at Outback. But there is no way. You know this movie is... I might talk about this movie on principle. Not because I've ever seen it, but because I've seen enough clips, and I've seen enough of other people who've seen it to know. Oh my god. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna sit through it. But it'll be funny if I bet him. If I show him the poster for this movie and say, if you can sit through more than half of this movie without giving up and without hating me for life, I will buy you dinner at Outback Steakhouse. And it's gonna be a fancy place, right? Because you expect that. Because if I expect him to sit through this stinker, then I'm gonna need to owe him something big. Because oh my god, this movie. I don't even know if I want to do it, y'all. I think it would be funny, but I don't even know if I want to do it. So anyway, and the thing about this year is none of the movies, they were not good, but none of the movies were bad enough to say that they were outright terrible. Like even the number one movie on this list, which was Graduation Day, it still had some okay elements to it. Like it was one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time. But in terms of good movies, the only two movies I can remember this year are a movie called The Initiation, which I watched, which was okay. I actually watched it by accident because it's not the movie I was intending to watch. But because I was intending to watch Hide and Go Shriek, but I picked the wrong movie by accident. So that'll be next year's movie. This coming year's movie. But it was okay. It was actually better than I expected. Actually, it wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it was not terrible. And I didn't feel like it was worthy of being put on the top 10 list. And the only other movie I genuinely liked this year, which I remember seeing, is Scream 6. Scream 6 was amazing. It was really, really, really good. 5 was better. I can tell you categorically that 5 was better. But 6 was so freaking good. And I like the fact that they are still calling back to other movies. But we should talk anime because this is an anime channel. I guess I could talk briefly about the shows I've watched this year. So what did I watch? Oh shit! I still need you to make the top 10 best and worst anime of the year. I'll do that, but I'm not gonna do it right now. My favorite What is my favorite anime this year? I'm having a hard time thinking about it, but I'm sure I've made a list somewhere. I'm sure I've made a list somewhere. So, what is this? Oh. whatever. I tried to send this to people, but it doesn't work. So, I started with 3 shows because I was like, okay, I started this because I decided I wanted to talk about the 3 shows by Kakuno Mikimo, who is the writer of Strike the Blood, which is pretty good. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of insane, and it gets weirder. But I wasn't kidding about that. When I said that about the end of the first season, I actually completely forgot that the OVA that follows it is part of the first season, but I won't talk about that. That OVA that was so weird. But we'll get to that when I talk about that, because that actually is, it's weird, but it's actually one of the most creative uses of mind control I've seen in a show. I did not expect that. If you guys have seen it, you know exactly what I mean. And I was like, oh, okay. You're doing, oh, well, that just happened. Okay. I, I mean, it's not the weirdest thing I've ever seen in an anime, but it was like, uh, very fetishy. I can't help describe it any other way but fetishy. Like if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know exactly what I mean. But it's a good show. It's cute. I like the fact that the relationship Kojo shares with his harem is far less violent than most shows, although he does have a tendency to pin them down and suck their blood, which is kind of creepy. But in most shows, if he like walked in on the lead female naked, she'd like pelt him with things. But I like the fact that Yukina is much more understanding and she's much more civil. And that caught me by surprise, and I was like, oh, she's not attacking, okay? Like that's generally one of the things that I like most, is that she doesn't react violently to misunderstandings, and she's much more calm and laid back than most female leads. I also love, I do wish they'd play, I do wish they'd do more with the fact that Vatler is gay for him, because that was really funny when I found, because basically his deal is that Kojo was given powers by the progenitor who came before him, and I forget if it's that and so basically he has her powers in him, and Vatler's in love with that woman, so basically it's kind of like he's in love with Kojo, and it's really funny, but unfortunately they've never really addressed it. I do like the fact that he's basically Isao Orihara. Like, if you've seen Durarara, they are the same character, except somehow Rattler's more violent, and except Rattler's more prone to, like, causing shit. Like, it struck me that they're basically the same character, and if you like Izaya, you will like the show. You will absolutely like the show. And you'll like the show anyway. But, yeah, good show. I like the action. I do wish the arcs were a little bit longer, because they seem like they rushed through them, but it's a good show. His other 2 shows are not good. Basically, Dantalian no Shoka, Dalian is insufferable. She is messy, just bratty, loud. She's basically Louise. She's basically that type of character. What am I hitting? Oh, I'm hitting that. Who is like just nasty, loud, barks orders, and it's very not fun to watch. Also, the story makes absolutely no sense. And it's not even that it's arcs, it's that they never bother to explain jack shit. So you go through the story and you're like, uh, what, like, there's one where the woman comes from a long line of women whose, like, blood makes them crazy and want to kill people, and somehow this relates to a tome? Like, is it because she's protecting him with the golem? Is the golem trying to kill him? The show never makes it clear, and the show, 9 times out of 10, never makes anything clear. But it's mostly because Dalian's insufferable. Like, absolutely insufferable. And they introduced the villain in episode 12. Like, literally, they introduced the villain in episode 12. And yeah, I get the feeling it's because they were banking on a second season, but I don't know why the show is getting a second. But I doubt the show is getting a second season, so nope. So no. I do like Dalian's relationship with Rizal. I think Rizal. The girl, their vitriol and the fact that they sling insults at each other is actually very funny. But the show is just bad. What the hell? What the fuck? What? Okay, that was very weird. There was just a poof of smoke and like, what the hell? That was very odd. I apologize for that. I don't understand what just happened. That was very weird. But anyway, on to the next thing. So, Asher Crying is his third show. And the thing about Asher Crying is it has a good story buried underneath it, but it's basically a show that doesn't it's another show that doesn't really make any sense. And like there's this robot they're fighting over, but it never explains why. There's something about a crash, and then they're like fighting demons who hunt. And it's just like, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't make sense. They never try to make it make sense. And for some reason, it feels like the art keeps changing. Like, one minute, the character designs will look different. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being weird. But I swear to God, like, maybe it's a Mandela effect, but I swear to God, the character designs look different at the start of the show than they did at the better. I swear at the end of the show they look better. And then they introduce characters, but like I don't remember who they are. And it's not good. I don't like it. I do like Strike the Blood though, so that should give benefit that he's not a terrible writer. He can write when he wants to. Also Slayers. I like it, but Slayers is one of those shows where it would have been much better if I wish So Goddess was the main character. I'm just bluntly saying it. He's way more interesting. I like his backstory a lot more. He's way more fun to watch than the main characters. And I genuinely find Lena insufferable. Like, she's not the worst protagonist ever, but she's extremely irritating. And I kept wishing for him to come back. So, I didn't know how to say it subtly, because I know a lot of people are going to jump down my throat and be like, well, wait, and get mad. But yeah, I heavily wish he were the main character. I heavily wish he were the main character, because he actually had a plot and goal, and it just kind of seemed like Lena doesn't. It like, and I'm not saying that show can't thrive with episodic stories. It can, but you gotta have a plan about what you're gonna do at some point. And it just seems like his story would have been more interesting. Also, the art was good for its time. The art was good for its time, but it's not great. But you can't really help that. I'm not gonna talk about One Piece yet, even though Dressrosa is amazing. He's so cute. He's awesome. He's an amazing villain. But I'm not gonna talk about that yet because that's gonna come later down the road in the month. But yeah, so oh, November. Watched Code Realize. The show is good. It takes a lot. Hi person, how you doing? It takes a lot of the game's concepts, which the game fleshes out, and it condenses them into a much more clear story. Oh, bye person. Into a much more clear story. So I like that fact. It's a more clear story, and I like that fact because the game, and I know this is the point of the game. I know that in the game there are different routes, but the problem with the game is that the routes are completely disconnected, and like 90% of them don't have anything to do with each other. So it feels like, hi person, how you doing? It feels like the game kind of sat on the plot for like bye person, kind of sat on the plot for like three routes, and then the only routes that really mattered are Lupin's and Van's, because those are the routes that have Venice in them. And he's the, oh hi, 2 people, hello. And those are the only 2. He is what matters to me in this context. In the context of playing this game, Yuki Kaji is what matters to me. And he was like in 2 out of the routes out of the entire game. And that really bothers me because he is like the best thing ever. And the game, the anime really condensed it so you got more out of him. Oh, they're gone. Oh, they're gone. Aw. So I'm glad about that. I really like the art. I think it looks pretty. And I also like the fact that they cut out all the stupid shit. Like, they cut out the mind-controlling roid drug, which banned for, which is really weird. They cut that out. They reduced the vampire kid to the background character. They reduced. Actually, they reduced most of the crap in Van's route, because Van's route, well, it had the most of Yuki Kaji. Van's route had a lot of stuff that like was also not relevant. So they also cut most of the crap with God, what was it? What was the name of Saint Germain's stupid ass organization? I forget the name of them, but like Saint Germain, who is my absolute least favorite of the group, works for this organization that like is trying to kill Cardia, and like it has nothing to do with the Twilight, and it just makes him come up with like a complete scumbag. So I don't know why you're romancing him when he tries to kill you multiple times. So they mostly just focused on Lupin's route, and that's perfectly fine. They changed a couple things here and there, but that is perfectly fine. And because it's also clear that Lupin was supposed to be the main love interest anyway, so I don't mind that. Let's see, what's that? I watched both Index shows because I did not realize that Accelerator was in the second season of To Our Kagaku no Railgun. He's an S. So I watched Railgun, the original, and it was so boring. I sat through the show waiting for something to happen, and like half of it was like nothing happening. They stop car thieves, and it does give us a little bit more about her chemistry with Toma, and I think that was nice. But other than that, it was so boring. I can't wait to get to S, because S is such a better season. And I watched the original Index, and as much as I liked Accelerator, that show is not very well written. Like, it's not bad, but if you're gonna pick a show like that, I would highly recommend you watch, if you watch, what's it called? Watch Strike the Blood instead, because that show is just better in like every single way. But yeah, it's drawn well though. I like the art. And I watched through it. I didn't realize that they never actually explicitly said that Soul was 14. I didn't realize I watched it through because I thought they said that, but no. I just found that out, and I thought it was very funny. That Soul was actually 14. So when it got to the scene of Toma punching him, I was like, dude, you know you're punching someone young. You know you're punching a child, right? Like, you know you're punching a teenager, right? Right? And like that. Oh, that makes the scene in the Angelful episode so much creepier, because if you guys remember, in that episode, what happens is Sasha casts a spell which basically makes everybody else look like each other, and the Kaori they're seeing is actually still, and at one point his father walks in on them naked, and it's so uncomfortable when you realize that this is only 14. So basically, his father walked in on a child naked. I know he couldn't tell, but just, oh, that's so squicky that he walked in on a child naked. Oh my god. I would, that's so squicky. And then he was like giving him love advice about her, and it's just, it's so creepy. But anyway, it was better than in Railgun. I will give it that. But watch Strike the Blood instead. That show was so much better. That show is better than like every single aspect. So I watched that. I watched Code Geass, which is still goated and is still amazing. And I'm not even gonna go into it because y'all need to watch this show. That show is freaking. I tried the dub. I should tell you I tried the dub. But as much as I love Johnny, that dub has aged like sour milk. It is really bad. So many name mispronunciations. Everybody talks like everybody talks so stiff and salted, like they don't. The dub is awful. And it's not the actor's fault, because some of them, like Karen Strassman, are really good, which is why I watch Resin Maiden instead, because Resin Maiden is awesome, and it has that really goated episode where Sweet Says, where they fight over, where they fight over the cake. I absolutely, it's one of my favorite things ever. The episode where they fight over the cake, and she goes in Ichigo's strawberry cake, which somehow leads them to war, into a battle where they're like throwing things at each other, and they build a fort. It's so insane, but it's so fucking hilarious. It's an absolute classic, and I don't know if I'm going to watch. I will watch Truman. Not Truman. I'm going to watch Zurich Spooten because Zurich Spooten was garbage. That show was just absolutely terrible, and it's sad because I really, really, really wanted to like it. But yeah, Zurich Spooten was really, really fucking bad. Oh my god, it was so bad. And it's weird because they replaced all the dub. I guess it's because they switched studios, but like the dub actors they're still acting, but I guess it's just because they switched studios. I can't think of any other reason why they do that. So other than that, let's see, where's the main index? Kogias. Oh, I watched Full Dive. Full Dive is a great show. If you guys don't know what it is, Full Dive is like this RPG. Full Dive, this RPG is shittier than real life or something. I forget what the full title is. But basically, Full Dive is the story of this guy who basically gets roped into playing an RPG. And he has to get through it, but it's completely insane. And I love the fact that he basically, and he ends up accidentally killing his best friend in game, and he's labeled with best friend killer. And as he tries to fix it, it gets worse and worse and worse. And he like keeps getting these more and more and more insane titles. Like I forget, it's something like best friend killer who peed himself and like tripped over a lot. That's not exactly it, but it's basically that. And it's such a fun show. It's basically just an entire show poking fun of the tropes that these games come up with, and it's so funny. I tried to watch in English, but truth be told, it's not that it's bad. Johnny is great in this show. Don't get me wrong. I loved this show. I watched it specifically because Johnny is great in this show. But I got to Tesla's dub, and why is he British? Why, Jason? Why are you doing a British accent? I'm sorry. It was painful. First of all, it was painful. Jason, I love you. I really do. But that accent was painful. And second of all, why? Why? Why are you doing a British accent? Why? There's no reason for it. I mean, I'm sure it was, or he was instructed to do it, but there's no reason for it. I hope it gets a second season. I really do, because that show is great. Full Dive was amazing. I really, really, really enjoyed it. So, God, is there any other shows I've watched? I can't think of any. So, Happy New Year's, y'all. For those of you who briefly tuned in, thank you. I'm still trying to figure out why people aren't tuning in. Maybe it's just because they don't like my voice. I don't know. But Happy New Year's, and I will see you starting in January. I'm actually probably going to. Am I gonna take the week off? Yeah. I'm probably gonna take off till Friday because I need time to recuperate. But I will still be doing the daily nerd out. Maybe, I don't know. But I'll figure it out when I get to it. And I wish y'all Happy New Year's.